Hey y'all, you got Doug Gorduggity here with Cajun Stopwatch. Today I'm going to talk about rebuilding the Proportioner, and I just want to kind of show you some things. So I've got a couple of the original Proportioners, and what I mean by that is that when Tim Aselton invented the Proportioners, and they were released to the market, I bought two, and they've been in my rig ever since. And so I started having problems with both of the original boxes. And so I decided, you know what, it's time to just rebuild them 4.5 years later. It's time to do it. So I'm going to show you some pieces and some parts and kind of go over a few things with you. So I was really shocked and amazed at the condition of and the reason for the failure on both proportioners. So I'm going to go over that with you. So first of all were the check valves, and that's the main reason why I had to rebuild the proportioners, was because the soap was flowing back, the water was flowing back. I knew it was a check valve issue, but it started happening on both proportioners at the same time, virtually. So it was just time to I just figured 4.5 years old, it was time. So what I did was I took both proportioners out and I tore them all down, and I started the rebuild process. I've got new valves, I've got new check valves, all that kind of stuff. But this little thing right here is what goes inside the check valve for the bleach side, for the SH side. And surprisingly, this little piece here for the bleach side was in better condition than the water side. Okay, this thing is in like pristine mint condition. So you know how sometimes with black rubber you rub your finger on it, you get that black on you, right? There's none of that. None of that happens here. I can rub around. This thing is in excellent condition, and it's been sitting inside bleach pretty much for 4 years. Now, I do rinse out our proportioners, our bleach valve every single day. We run 5 gallons through it. This is the spring. I don't know if you can see it here. Again, the spring is in immaculate condition. It's got good springiness to it. It's, I mean, these things are just in superb condition, okay? Even the inside where the seats are, I don't know if you'll be able to see, but it's not flaky, it's not, it's in excellent condition after 4.5 years. Okay, I don't use the plastic parts near the ends. I use brass, and so this is the brass that came off the bottom side, the 3/4 side of my proportioner, and it's actually it's no longer round. It kind of collapsed here. If you kind of look here, it's the shape is wrong. Okay, and if you look, that's I don't know if I can get up there close enough. That's 4.5 years of buildup inside. And again, this is where it comes out of the proportioner. Okay. So this is not where it goes in. And now this right here is the bleach side. This is the brass piece that came off of the bleach inlet. Okay. This has been pumping bleach for, like I said, 4.5 years. And it's not the bleach that has been causing grief for us. It's actually the water that's been creating all the grief for us. Now, I'll also go one further and I'll say that the check valves didn't fail. It's just, it happens to be ironic that what happened was on both of them, one of them, it was a piece of a zip tie. Somehow a zip tie, just the end of a zip tie about this long, somehow got into the system and it worked its way up and it got stuck in the check valve on the bleach side. And then same thing on the other proportioner. It was just a piece of debris that somehow got sucked in and got stuck up in there, and that's what created the problem. So no failure on the part of the proportioner after 4.5 years. The insides of these valves, I don't know if you'll be able to see this. Let me do it this way. This is the inside of the the bleach valve. I mean, these things are in immaculate condition. If you were to clean these up just a little bit, I wouldn't know. I would have no guess that these things are 4.5 years old, however they are. So not only is it kudos to Tim Aselton for inventing an awesome product that has absolutely revolutionized our industry. I mean, virtually most people that I know or that you see out there, a lot of people have switched to proportioners. They're super time saving. It's the weekend and I'm still getting calls like crazy. It's Sunday actually. So not only has Tim Aselton revolutionized our industry and invented a super awesome product, but they didn't stop there. The Power Wash store, which has been putting together all these proportioners, been using some really good products that have sustained for such a great period of time. Now let me tell you the problems that I did have in taking them apart. So a couple of well, on one of the boxes, this right here is where the proportioning valves mount to the proportioner box, right? And so there's bolts that actually go through here, and these I mean, I don't want to say they rotted out, but they seized up. And so when I tried to get the bolts out, I actually had to end up cutting them off and then taking these out. I'm gonna see if I can get some new pieces to put in there and still use the valves. So that was the only real problem that I've had. And then again, with this, and again, most of it's due to the water here in Louisiana. Aside from that, man, these things are in absolutely awesome condition. Really just taking everything apart, cleaning it up, putting it back together, and rolling with it. So, hey, I appreciate y'all. And if y'all aren't using a proportioner, man, I'm telling you, 4 years, I can only imagine the amount of work and revenue that proportioning system has done for us. And man, I'm just ecstatic about the inside, the way these things look, how super awesome everything is. I did change out the I don't know if I said this, but I did change out the check valve on the SH side. And then what I did was I moved the water valve over to the SH over to the Apple Wash, and the Apple Wash over to the water side, just to change the valves up a little bit. But I didn't put in new valves because I didn't need to. They were in perfect condition. So anyhow, that's just it. And appreciate y'all for listening to me, and Doug, you do out.